Welcome on Collect today. I am reacting to the ridiculous random nature of the gorilla from Casual Geographics. Long time fan. I think I reacted once to his video, but I should continue. By the way, Acolytes, there is a lot of videos that I want to react to, but there is only so much time I can actually, well, confidently make do for videos. So let's just do this.
Oh my god.
The greatest trick Hollywood ever pulled was convincing the world that gorillas were something to be scared of. Whole time it's an ADHD Uber ape built like a practical joke. The gorillini is the opposite of a sleeper build. They look like a flash pass to being full-time horizontal, when really gorillas are unintentionally the most unserious animals on the planet. Almost every character trait that made them feared back in the day actually makes them adorably ridiculous when you have context. Like you've seen this picture, a gorilla beating its chest and maybe you next has to be one of the most intimidating sights in nature. The sound, though.
Yes, but just remember, those are still wild animals. Never go to a gorilla and provoke it or something.
That was not edited. Whole time this display sounds like an assault on bubble wrap. King Kong had you misunderstood. Only in a movie would you see this and hear the god of thunder. It's more like someone weaponizing bubble tea in a straw. Put on a blindfold and it's not threatening anybody but Bubble Buddy, because it sounds like his family flatlined by firing squad. It's fitting. It was widely believed that the peg pounding was considered an act of war, but newer research says that it might help gorillas avoid conflict altogether. In a study done by Edward Wright of the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Germany, it was found that the biggest, most brolic mountain gorillas actually produce the sounds with the lowest frequency. Something about larger air sacs near the larynx, but it's considered an honest signal of competitive ability, and between two prime apes, the one with the higher frequency flesh tap might just tap out of a fight before it happens. So the chest beating actually allows smaller gorillas to avoid a fight they'd almost certainly lose, and lets gorillas choose the best option, since bigger males tend to be the first choice for intercourse. That's gonna be painfully ironic in a minute, but we'll get to that bridge. The other thing that apparently terrified early explorers into introverts was their jaw work. Gorillas have top 5 most inappropriate dental work for their profession, right up there with camels and the gelada monkey. It's almost divine intervention that a lawnmower with limbs has a stronger bite force than lions, hyenas, and even a grizzly bear.
I didn't know that. That's brutal. I mean, for F-Sickle.
And if you watch gorilla ASMR, you can literally see the muscles attached to the sagittal crest. That crest is why the gorilla has a built-in mohawk. Lucky for literally everybody, gorillas only use those vice grip jaws to crush about 40 pounds of food a day. And you'll never be more grateful for their grocery list until you watch one peel a tree like a banana. All that food would mean nothing if they didn't also have a host of gut bacteria to help break it all down. But because all that bacterial work also produces gas, gorillas are almost in a perpetual state of flatulence. A troop of IBS apes break more wind than a bloated beached whale, and it's so constant that researchers occasionally track traveling families through their southbound symphony. Scientists even used a gorilla-coded camera to gain insight into the secret society of this steroid simian, and what they found was that a well-fed family could blow a hole through the ozone layer. And out both ends. According to late gorilla expert Diane Fossey, gorillas burp as an act of goodwill and contentment. And you know, in some cultures, letting it out the attic is considered a compliment, but they might as well have gotten it from a knuckle-walking cow ape. On a less audibly offensive note, gorillas have also been recorded singing while they eat. Researchers refer to it as a chorus of appreciation. It's pretty cool, check it out. Basically living in their version of a giant gingerbread house has gorilla gangs singing out both ends. It's also a fact that they sing louder when eating their favorite foods like this banana tree stalk. And the funniest thing is, in the wild, the lead singer is actually the silverback. Science says he uses singing, or well, more like humming, to tell the group when it's time to stop and eat. And you know the law, when silverback speaks, everyone listens, and when he sings, it's time for fixings. But I'm not hungry. Okay, jeez. It makes sense. Few things are more dominant than the lead silverback male. You know he's the one calling all the shots and making all the decisions for a troop of up to and sometimes over 30. One could say that is the peak male form. And you remember that painfully ironic thing I promised? Well, it's about that time. Before you judge me, I'm just going to remind you that this is strictly educational. But I would feel weird if I didn't say this. So if you're a child, an adult with a child, or an adult who thinks they're a child, skip to this timestamp right here. Or don't, I can't stop you, but don't let your parents blame me if you don't. Here's an ad while you consider the cost of curiosity. So, fun fact about a silverback, they're the largest apes in the world, can weigh in the neighborhood of 500 pounds, and when they're private standard
Damn.
attention, they're about 3/4 short of 2 inches. They don't just have the smallest waist snake of any ape, it's widely believed gorillas have the smallest member of any mammal relative to body size.
King Kong ain't
What?
got on me.
I promise you he doesn't. In fact, if we scaled for size, you have a better chance at Subway of seeing a foot long than from a Giga Kong. I swear I'm not just using this for Richard jokes, there's actually a reason gorillas ended up hung like a hamster. When you look at how all the great apes measure up, you'll 1. End up on a list, incognito can't save you, but 2. You'll realize humans have more appendical advantages than just a long thumb.
Hey, how's it going?
Chimps, bonobos, and orangs are roughly about the same, but nature seemed to maliciously undercut gorillas in particular. Believe it or not, it's a direct reflection of how they live. Chimpanzees live in polyandrous packs, where females can mate with multiple males, so there was evolutionary pressure for them to develop heavy huevos, since the more baby batter one can produce, the better chances one of his little swimmers wins the race to reality, which led to chimps having a massive man purse. I feel dirty. With humans, is
What the hell? This is information I didn't want to know,
believe
but
that
now I
earlier
do.
variants may have
Okay.
selected for the more groinally gifted, especially with humans being more bipedal. It'd probably be more of a factor. Eventually, that led to humans having more to flex under the waistband than just 9 millimeters. But with gorillas, it's different. They often live in harems where all the females in a group practice their multiplication tables with the one silverback, which means they didn't have the selective pressure of dealing with other males like chimps, or even the pressure of females having a choice like humans. Also, another theory is that a larger Nixon might have helped shovel out rival Nectar. Again, something a back of silver doesn't have to worry about. It actually ties back to the chest beating. Being an absolute unit was already so much of a flex that evolution didn't have to juice their stats in other ways. But unfortunately, it means gorillas are built like an anti-steroid ad. But also consider this, silverbacks are the embodiment of what podcast bros call an alpha male. If humans were truly meant to take cues from them, forget Snickers, we'd be packing a Skittle. And with that, I am going to power wash my search history.
This is beautiful. I imagine the story behind this is this woman is a Karen, this gorilla is like, get the fuck off. I'm just tired. Get the fuck off here.
Also, silverbacks aren't the aggressive jocks that movies made them out to be. Turns out, they're a lot more involved in raising children than we thought. Research actually shows that if a gorilla were to lose its mother, as long as it still isn't living off her milk, they'd still have an equal shot at surviving. It's cause silverbacks don't give child support, they are the child support. It's even been proven that gorillas are more attracted to the sensitive, child-nurturing males, and not really the aggressive bully types. Which is probably why they put up with so much disrespect, and why the father instinct might not just apply to gorillas. You might remember in 1986, a child fell into a gorilla enclosure, crazy how often that happens, and 400-pound Yumbo went over and tried to comfort the unconscious boy. Even when the boy came to and understandably panicked, instead of wilding out at the sudden disturbance, Yumbo calmly guided the other gorillas to a corner of the enclosure while first responders rescued the boy. Ironically, this was during a time the majority thought gorillas were bloodthirsty savages patrolling the underbrush of Africa. That literally could not have been further from the truth. In fact, it led to one of the most infuriating arguments I keep letting myself get baited into. Anytime someone
You know what? I might be wrong about the gorilla thing, because I argued that gorillas are more... Well, I mean, I'm not... Now, let's just hear... Maybe I'm not.
brings up gorilla versus grizzly, all I can think is, you don't know gorillas, and you really don't know grizzlies. Forget bears, there's cases of leopards causing problems for a plus-size primate, with records finding past tense gorillas with puncture wounds around the head and neck. Now, leopard attacks on a full-grown male are rare. But if a 150-pound big cat is a genuine threat, a 10-foot, 900-pound revenant plot device would slaughter a roid monkey. And really, the more you think about it, the more disrespectful the question is. Y'all stay playing on a grizzly's body. Especially since the gorilla himself wouldn't even want that smoke. For all that bulk, they'd definitely rather run away than run a fade. Imagine thinking they can match up with a grizzly when gorillas can get humbled by a change in weather. And I just love that gorillas in captivity and in the wild have no problems playing in the water. But when it falls out the sky, it's suddenly unacceptable. Also,
Oh, this is beautiful. It's like my dogs, exactly the same. But it almost the other way around. It's if it rains, they love it. If they have to go to the bath and just wash them, they despise it. This is Gem.
So I don't know if you've seen that corgi that gave its owner a heart attack, until she realized the only victim was a jar of jam. Turns out gorillas might have done the same to early explorers. One could only imagine seeing the blood-soaked fangs of this behemoth up close, only to realize gorilla grills come from the tannins in their diet, and for reference, tannins are the same ingredient that makes coffee bitter. And I think that's just gorillas in a nutshell. They look like they could do an absolute number on the human population, but I could not find one verified case of a gorilla murking a person. Attempts may have been made, but if you watch this video, you know she basically begged for it. Plus, it's captivity. In the wild, you actively have to try to get gorilla gloves put on you. They genuinely give you every possible warning before they do. And even if you ignore the chest beat, the flashing teeth, and all the other signs a gorilla might give you, usually the most they'll ever do is bluff charge. Now, let me not be ridiculous. A gorilla could absolutely turn you into a human jigsaw puzzle. And for all I'm talking, a bluff charge from a gorilla would have my soul pump faking the higher power. But gorillas got stuck with the monster label, which means it distracted people from the fact that they're the most unserious animals on Earth. What do I mean? Well, you remember what I said about silverbacks being fathers? Well, this is Hauko. Hauko is a proud father of 4 who loves nothing more than to play with his children.
That's
Problem
cute.
is, sometimes his mate isn't too eager to let him rock with such a small baby. So in all of Hauko's infinite wisdom, he came up with a solution. He fucking kidnapped her repeatedly. And yes, he did this with all his children, proving it really is a game to him. I'm sorry, you can't. You're telling me I'm supposed to be afraid of this? This is chronically unserious. But not unsurprising, gorillas have a genuine sense of humor. Had Marion Cooper have known, King Kong might have had a different storyline. Like Exhibit B, watch enough gorilla videos and you'll notice they have an interesting habit of grenading. As in, they'll throw something and immediately run away like Skeletor. Now you could argue it's a territorial, non-verbal way to tell humans to F off, but that goes against my narrative, so I'm gonna disregard it. Also, they've done it so many times exactly like this, it's like, how am I not supposed to see this as a prank? And if you need more proof, Coco, the sign language speaking gorilla, once tied her caretaker's shoelaces together and then signed the word chase. Now I know there's been a dispute as to whether Coco actually learned sign language or was just a master mimic that learned sign language the same way dogs learn words like sit. There's a much more nuanced conversation to be had on whether Coco was a genuine case of comprehension or just memorization and regurgitation. But that's not why I'm mentioning her here. It's because she was...
By the way, I'm just gonna interrupt here. Either way, if you believe the one side or the other, I think it's... I mean, no matter which way you go, it's still impressive that she even mimicked to the entire thing to a point where we as humans believe that she can do it. So I think it's impressive anyway. Like, both of the ways. It could have been a lie that she learned everything, but also, I don't care.
Involved in one of the most absurd lawsuits I've ever read. In 2005, 3 female former staff members filed a lawsuit against the Gorilla Foundation, because allegedly Coco was demanding that the workers flash her, and no, I do not mean with lights. According to Nancy Alpine and Kendra Keller, program director Francine Patterson told them that Coco had an obsession of the mammary variety, and pressured them to expose their upper halves to the gorilla, even implying that their jobs would be in danger if they refused. They refused. And some of the quotes that will come out of this suit are almost too ridiculous to be real. And apparently Coco did not discriminate, with one man recounting a time Coco went up to him and demanded to see his human headlights, at a party no less. He didn't even say no, he said later, and according to him, Patterson put an arm around him and basically hit him with the, "Do you really want to say no to her?" There were other complaints like unpaid overtime, dangerous work environment, them apparently storing...
That are worse than the other thing, by the way, like dangerous work environment, overtime. But just flashing a gorilla for... I mean, for F's sake, I'm gonna be honest here. The gorilla could have just... Like, Coco could have just have fun with it. That's all. Maybe that's a thing that we just don't understand, that gorillas see you as a friend if you just flash them. Because they think, aha, wait. What is the stuff on them? Wait, I mean, I'm here freaking naked, only have a few hairs. Does the person have hair? Hey, I want to see.
Gorilla urine in the same fridge they ate out of, but none as outrageous as a 350-pound bosom bandit. Especially when you find out Patterson would switch up majorly when big-time donors came around. What do I mean? Well, apparently whenever Coco would make one of her requests in front of a possible benefactor, Patterson would just say, "Oh, you know, nipple sounds like people." So what she's really saying is she wants to see more people. Yeah, they should have read the verdict right there, because who even lies like that? I don't think that's how sign language works. The case was settled out, of course, so I guess we'll never know, but to be fair, how would multiple people lie about something like that? It means...
Okay, did you see this? I mean, for F's sake, I think that's just a way of playing with someone. I mean,
We'll settle that, of course, so I guess we'll never know, but to be fair, how would multiple people lie about something like that?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't want a freaking gorilla to grab mine, because it's freaking scary. But, come on, like, we don't have to overdo
Means
this.
gorillas are the only animals to be formally accused of harassment of the sensually explicit kind. It also proves that gorillas are just like us. They can multitask and focus on two things at once. I mean, they only share 98% of our DNA, and for the loud minority that's gonna somehow take offense, or, you know, make it racist, because, you know, I read the comments. I challenge you to spend a day watching a gorilla and tell me it's not an impulsive human in a fursuit. Like, I bet half of y'all didn't even realize that's a gorilla walking in the background. Yeah, this was a pretty unserious video for a remarkably unserious creature, but the point wasn't really to Disneyfy a wild animal. That's arguably as bad as turning them into monsters. But there is so much more to gorillas than a fade with Godzilla or the US Army, and I kinda wanted to show that. Especially when you realize gorillas have been getting slaughtered for as long as we've known about them, for bushmeat, for trophies, pets, and sometimes just for the sport, so us calling them dangerous is kinda wild. But I get it. Talk is cheap when it's in front of a green screen. So if this video gets 200,000 likes, I will meet a gorilla in person. Somewhere. Or an orangutan, and that works too. But until then, drink water.
Oh, an orangutan. I love orangutans. They're so freaking intelligent little motherfuckers. I love those. Those are... except for the floppy faces. The floppy faces look disgusting.
Hug your mother. Never smile at a gorilla. Fun fact, clearing your throat sends a much better message. And I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Fair enough. I love this video. This guy is just... doing the work. And by the way, acolytes, if you just share this, give him the 200, like the 200k likes, please, for F's sake. I want to see it. I just want to see it. He goes in with a to a gorilla or a orangutan or something like that. Just do it. I know he's doing it to promote his video, let's be honest, but I just want to see it. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. But as it is, acolytes, have a nice day.